everyone. Welcome to the Green Revolution Show. This is our first episode, and I'm joined with a very special guest, Luke Meyer. Meyer, correct?
That's right.
ML Lawn Care. Luke and I met over the winter last year, and we've become good friends since. And we've done a few things together, a few projects, if you will.
Right on. Yeah. I always go to Peter whenever I have a question about plants, or he knows a lot in that area. I've also borrowed some of his equipment a few times, so I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful to have someone so knowledgeable, so close.
And thank you. I mean, I don't know everything, but I don't know. It is what it is. So today, we wanted to talk about a couple things. We wanted to talk about a plant. I'd like to, every episode, pick a plant to talk about. And what plant have you chosen for us today?
I've selected the Arborvitae.
All right. And the Latin name for that, if you're wondering, is Thuja occidentalis. I hope I got that correct. Do you have any comments about the tree, or...
I really like the application of the Arborvitae in the area. A lot of people have pools or hot tubs, and instead of throwing on like a wooden wall, it's like a really natural green plant that's it goes well with the landscape, but also serves the purpose of privacy. I don't know. What do you like about the Arborvitae?
I do like the privacy with it. When I go to plant a tree or an arborvitae, I usually stay away from the emerald green. I'll plant the green giant arborvitae, typically because they're supposed to be deer resistant. They grow, typically I've seen them grow like upwards of a foot, if not more than that, a year. Mm-hmm. They are rapid growers, and you don't really get that with the emerald green or the American Arborvitae.
Well, how tall do they get, the green giant?
I don't know about the exact height. I mean, I can look that up right now.
Yeah, because I've always been curious how tall and how wide they get, how quickly, and how far you're supposed to plant them apart. I know a lot of people like privacy and they want it to look like a wall. Is that really good for the plant to be putting them so close?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, I wouldn't say it's good for the plant, but I wouldn't say it's bad for the plant either. Have you ever planted any American Arborvitaes or green giant Arborvitaes?
Yeah, my biggest planting job actually a couple of years ago. I think we did about 30 or 40 around a pool fence.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to find pictures of that, but the customer, like I mentioned earlier, she had a pool and she wanted privacy from her neighbors, and she wants to finish it off. She actually bought all the materials. We just were there for the labor. We dug all the holes by hand, planted them all in there. I think only one died, and it was the one like right up in the corner of the house. So it did well.
That's good.
I'm trying to convince my parents to get some.
Yeah.
Down by our hot tub. I was in there the other night before the snowstorm, and they've got
jealous, man.
It's a wide open area. It's like 300 feet of just open area, so it's really windy. Wind's coming up in the hot tub, and it was snowing hard, so we're just getting blasted in the face by snow. And they got these curtains, but whenever the wind is really heavy, the curtains will just work their way up into the hot tub and get wet. So I'm like, you guys gotta put something down there.
First world problems, right?
You're right, I
know. So to answer your question about the green giant arborvitae, it says here, this is according to arborday.org, they grow to a height of 50 to 60 feet and a spread of 12 to 20 feet at maturity. Now that spread of 12 to 20 feet could be changed if you plant them very close together. I believe the American Arborvitae, the deer like to go after that quite a bit, because I know whenever I go to plant one, I always kind of check the area and I'm like, are there going to be any deer around here? Or is it fenced in so the deer can't reach it?
What's the planting procedure like?
The planting procedure?
Yeah.
Just like any other plant. When you dig the hole, they say at least 6 inches away from the edge of the root ball. Mm-hmm. So like you have your root ball, and then you want your hole to be 6 inches wider on both ends or all around, at least. The more the better.
You're supposed to dig it as deep as the root ball, or deeper?
As deep as the root ball. You don't really want to dig the bottom of the of your planting hole a whole lot, just because when you go to fill it back in, it could settle and then that tree could tip. So
Gotcha.
you kind of want to just dig it as deep as you need to. Not too deep though. One of the plants that stood out to me was I believe it was the golden globe. No. Yeah, I think it was the golden globe. Uh, no, it was a different one. No, yeah, the Mr. Bowling Ball. Because
Is that an arborvitae?
it is, and I'll actually show you a picture right now. We were doing a planting last year for a client, and he said, I want a round evergreen shrub that doesn't get too big. And so I went over to the local nursery and took a look around and found these Mr. Bowling Balls, and he loved them. And I thought the name was pretty funny.
Would you just trim that once a year?
I would say trim as needed. Yeah, I mean, whenever I go to trim a plant, I would just do it as it needs to be trimmed, especially stuff like this.
Right.
Even the arborvitae, like you don't really need to. I see a lot of people topping it and stuff because they want to get that uniform hedge look, which to each his or her own. But with the arborvitae, I mean, it has such a dense form that I'm not really concerned about trimming it or anything. I kind of just let it grow. The one thing you have to be concerned about with the American arborvitae or any arborvitae in general is the weight of snow, because sometimes snow will get onto the arborvitae and weigh it down, and especially the Thuja occidentalis, because it has multiple stems going up. So if you have a lot of weight on one side, it'll pull it away from the plant and it could snap it. And then you have this big dead patch in the arborvitae, and then you got to go look for a new one.
How much are those from local nurseries usually? I've seen them.
Depends on the size.
Right.
And depends on the nursery too.
Okay.
If you go to a wholesale nursery, again, it just depends on the nursery.
Okay.
I can't remember what I think I spent like $120 on some 8-footers.
Yeah, I've seen prices all over on those.
Yeah, it's all over the place. But yeah, so we wanted to talk about the arborvitae for a little bit, but the main thing we wanted to get into, and I call it Luke's hardscaping adventures. And do you want to talk a little bit about what that all is?
Yeah, so I do lawn maintenance, landscape maintenance here in Oxford, not far from Peter. But I wanted to, be able to offer just a little bit more to my customers, something a little bit new. I'm not entirely sure if this is the route I'm going to go. I'm going to be doing maintenance for a long time, but I'm really into like the smaller fire pits and patios in people's backyards. Everyone's spending a lot of time at home nowadays, and I think just to have like a little living space that you could have your family over would be really cool. And being a person that my clients already know, like, and trust, it just makes it so much easier, so they don't have to find like another hardscaper in the area and build that relationship. A relationship that's already built here, and I'm trying to get the knowledge so that I can offer you this. So I figured the first step would be I posted on a Facebook group, hardscape contractor group, found a guy that was looking for temporary labor, built that relationship, and rented an Airbnb in Missouri for a month before Christmas and then a month after Christmas. And they're building like a 6,000 square foot driveway. You can probably see from this picture. It's
I'm
huge driveway. Right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. And did you start this project from the beginning? Like when you showed up, was that like when you started? Was it okay? So it was already in progress when you showed up.
Yep.
Okay, so did you get to like lay the base at all? Or I don't know a whole lot about hardscaping, so just kind of walk us through this and tell us exactly what you did.
Yeah, so when I showed up, they had already done most of the excavation. The driveway was so big they had to do it in parts because the customer or the client wanted to get in the garage every night, so we'd do a little bit and then make a little ramp out of rock so they could drive on what we just did. And so I did get to see every single phase of what it took to build that driveway, and I did get to perform every single part of that, but I wasn't there the whole entire time.
Okay.
So they started off with the excavation. They had a dump truck running and the skid steer, as you can see, and they were just pulling out dirt, trying to get it down to the base level because they had to put, I think they put 10 inches of 3/4 clean, 1 inch of bedding material, and then the paver itself was like 3 3/4 inches thick. So they had to excavate down about 15 or 16 inches from the edge course there. I think that's limestone block. I could be wrong. So they had to excavate all that down, bring in all that rock. They had they call it you hate this stuff. What's it called? Weed block.
Oh, I mean, I don't hate weed block. There's a place for it, and it's not underneath organic mulch. But
Under rock, yeah.
If you're going to use it under rock or inorganic mulch, be my guest. Anyway.
100%. Yeah, when you go to do any hardscape, you should put down weed block or that material to keep the rock from settling in the soil. If the rock settles in the soil, it'll mess with the appearance of your patio 100%. And you also use it when you install like cobblestone or limestone instead of mulch in your landscapes. So we put that down, put the rocks down, compacted every 2 inches, put down grid to stop the pavers from shifting. And then it was just a really, really long process. And that's probably why they needed an extra guy. It was really repetitive.
Yeah. I know that my dad decided to take it upon himself to build I believe it was a 500 square foot patio in his backyard. And I had to come in every once in a while and help him out. It was during the summer, so I could only help him so much. But just that 500 square foot patio, that was a lot of work. And how big was this one again?
Just shy of 6,000 square foot.
6,000 square feet, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not know what I was getting into. But I went there with one goal in mind, and that was to learn how to hardscape, how to build a patio.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you I figured that one out.
Yeah, I mean, with 6,000 square feet, I'm sure you'd have to pick it up
Yeah.
somewhere along the way.
Right. Yeah, I was working on it for a month with 2 other guys. And then I had to come home for Christmas, see the family. And then I went back, and we were there for another 2 weeks just finishing up. So cool. I think it took about 6 weeks total, 3 guys.
It's completed now?
It's done now.
Customer happy?
Yeah, they're very happy.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I mean, yeah. How much do you think a project like that would cost?
$120,000. Yeah,
I
know you could put a kid through college
with around.
I know. Let me just spend $120,000 in my driveway really quick, guys.
Yeah, we're just low income landscapers, right?
Right. That's what they call us.
Did you do any other projects besides the driveway?
We started a retaining wall, but and I got to see a lot of the other projects that they did. I think 2 or 3 other projects. They had a couple waterfalls. They did some patios. No, not really. It was just basically the driveway. Got to see the retaining wall a little bit, and then just got to pick their brains. The foreman there has 20 years experience. The owner's got 20 years experience. They had a laborer, 3 years experience. So anytime you get around people that are 20 plus years of experience, usually they'll have really good ideas of what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely worth your time for sure. Yeah. That's awesome. Let's talk about some of the projects that you want to try out in regards to hardscaping. So this picture I'm looking at right now, it's just like a circular patio with a little bit of a retaining wall in the back. It just looks like a little hangout area, maybe put a fire pit in the middle. I just want to try something really small. I want to be a little bit different than a norm. I want to be able to pick out different pavers, different colors, kind of mix the colors a little bit. I see a lot of really cool stuff on Instagram, on Pinterest too. I'm on Pinterest. Oh yeah. And follow him on Pinterest. No, I have one follower on Pinterest. I'm pretty sure it's a fake account too. Just something small, 200 square foot, 300 square foot in your backyard. Okay. For you to get out there, have a fire with your friends. Yeah, that's awesome. I did see a picture earlier. Maybe you have it on your phone. It was like it's kind of like that picture that we just talked about. It's like a circular hangout area, but a nice fire pit in the middle. I can't remember, was there like pea gravel or something throughout the center instead of pavers? I think there was pea gravel. Yeah. I have something just like that outside that we're working on right now. I mean, it's like half finished, so you can kind of hang out, but there's a couple things I want to do with it. Well, first off, I have a dog, so she runs through the pea gravel and flips it everywhere. So I want to kind of put a border, maybe like a edging block or something around that. And then the other problem we were having when our friends would come to hang out was we'd have these or they'd be eating and they wouldn't be able to see what they were eating or wouldn't be able to find where their drink was because it was so dark, even though there was a fire in the middle. So we want to do kind of like lights around, not over the fire pit, but around the fire pit.
Yeah, and those you see them everywhere now. Those they're like black string lights with the bulbs on them.
Yep.
Like every 2 feet spaced apart, 1.5 feet.
And then they're kind of like a rustic.
Very popular.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna do?
I have them. Yeah.
You have them?
Yeah.
That's
I don't remember where I put them, but I'll find them eventually.
Yep. I see them all over. Even when I was in Missouri checking out some of their other jobs they're working on, all the neighbors around had them.
Yeah, that
Everyone
seems to
likes
be the trend these days in the backyard. They like to have that I don't know, the light aesthetic at night. People really seem to like that, even just on their back porch.
They have a big application. I've seen people hung them over pools, like you have them over your fire area. I don't know.
Yeah,
I really like on back to those little paper fire pits. Like I've seen it where they put landscape timbers in the ground and hang the lights around. That's what the other picture is right there.
Oh, there it is. We found it. Look
Yeah.
at this.
And you and I were talking earlier, like you could put like a bucket around the landscape timber, fill it with concrete, so this timber's going to stay there. But then at the top, don't fill it all the way up with concrete. Put some potting soil or whatever's best suited for that, and put flowers in it right around there.
Yeah, and that's a great idea. I'll probably steal that from you and use
it. Right. I've seen people hang their hammocks from the two landscape timbers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how structurally sound that is.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But the other thing that just came to mind was maybe some morning glories climbing up the pole. That would look cool.
That would look really cool.
I
like how you can change the pavers too, like the way they're laying. Like on the outside, you have your soldiers, is what they call it.
Yeah.
How they're all standing up next to each other.
Yep.
But then I think it looks like they're going in a circle.
Yeah.
Circle course. You can go straight. You can go on an angle. You could have soldiers and then like a straight course and another circles. You can just really change up the colors and the pavers to really get that look you desire.
Yeah, that's really cool. But back to the lighting situation. The one problem I'm having is, so we'll have that 5-gallon bucket on probably 4 corners, and we'll have the lights and stuff. But my problem is, how do I hide that 5-gallon bucket? I'm thinking about taking like pavers or something and doing like a almost like a small pillar to hide the.
You could do that. There's a lot of options. You could even use like a flowering pot or.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like here they have like a tin bucket or something that they used. They filled it all the way up with concrete. I like the Adirondack. Is that how you pronounce it? Chairs. I definitely I can pronounce Latin names, but I can't pronounce that word. It's okay.
You don't hear too much 21-year-old landscapers on Pinterest. Usually it's my mom on Pinterest, but it's got to.
Or the wife or girlfriend.
Yeah, right. But
no, I mean I
find it useful.
I do too. I mean, ever since I moved into this house, because it's kind of a farmhouse, so I'll go onto Pinterest and look up like farmhouse gardening or whatever, and find some good ideas. But back to I want to kind of tie together the arborvitae with the fire pit thing. I had a client who had something kind of like this picture here, where they had the patio with the fire pit in the middle. And the only difference was he wanted privacy, so he decided to plant emerald green arborvitaes all the way around the fire pit area. And one day, I think he lit a Christmas tree or something big, but I came back 1 week and like half of the arborvitaes were fried. So they do catch on fire. Yep. And I didn't ask him about it.
It had to have been a big fire.
It had to have been, because I mean, I don't think the tree caught on fire necessarily. I just think it got so hot up against those arborvitaes that they just got singed. And if something like that happens, I've seen arborvitaes recover from like deer damage and stuff, so I never did get to see whether or not the trees recovered from the singeing, but I would imagine that they did, because the tree was still alive on the other side, but in the middle not so much. But I'm sure it did recover eventually. It's just it looked unsightly up until that point. Do you do anything like in your contract, your seasonal contract? Do you do anything with like in regards to like, hey, we're going to be filming your property more than likely, just like that's part of the contract? Or do you just kind of show up with your video camera, and if they say something, you're like, okay, well, then we won't film your property?
So in my snow plowing contract, it says that your property will be documented or will be photographed for documentation and marketing purposes. So they understand it there. I feel like more and more people are becoming accustomed to it these days. When I'm doing my stories, I'm just like walking around the property with my camera. What's up, guys? Luke here at ML Lawn Care. We got 4 lawns done today. It's 9 a.m. Whatever. I don't really think they're going to say much about that. But usually when I meet them, I tell them, like, hey, we've got a drone. We might be flying a drone to take some drone shots of your house. And usually I'll send it to them, too. I think they like to see that, some drone shots of their house. It's, who doesn't like their own house?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Then I was working with you over the summer. He would be, like, taking videos for Instagram. And I would never see him doing it, but at the end of the day, I'd get home and look and like, man, he took so many videos, and like I was with him all day, and I didn't see him videotape once.
It is a grind.
He's sneaky, man.
Yeah. It was definitely tough to get used to at the very beginning. It's like I'm talking to a camera. Like, this is kind of weird. Like, people are going to think I'm weird. You just got to get over that.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first time doing anything like this, and it's a little it's different.
It's weird. And then usually I don't look at the story views. I don't care much about that, but like I'll go sometimes at the very end, I'll look and there's like 800 or 900 people saw it, and I'm like, man, I can't imagine standing in front of a crowd of like 900 people talking to them about lawns like in person, but then you have like your cell phone, it's like individualized, and it's, I don't know, it's different. I like it. I think it's really good for branding, really good for your business.
Yeah, and another way to look at it is when you drive down the road and you see someone else doing it, you don't really think they're a weirdo or anything. You're just like, oh, it's the 21st century.
You're not
so I'm sure they
home
think the same thing about you, except for the really old people. They're like, oh, those damn millennials.
Oh my gosh, I saw this kid talking to his phone on a lawnmower the other day. Like, no one's going to remember it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
You're fine.
All right. Well, I'm out of things to say. What do you have?
That's all I got, really.
All right. Well, this was the first video of the Green Revolution Show. Thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe. And Luke, would you like to plug your social media?
Yes. My Instagram is ML Lawn Care. That's where you can find me. That's where all my videos are, or pictures. That's what everybody sees of me. So.
All right. Well, I'd definitely like to have you back on the show soon. We'll have plenty of things to talk about for sure. But thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Have a good day.